Are there any current barriers in our education system that prevent teachers from using formative assessment?
Well, the greatest barrier teachers have in general, that we all have in general, is time. Time is something that we always need more of, even outside of school in everyday life. Time is our biggest enemy. It just keeps moving, and we never seem to have enough of it. Teachers feel like that a lot. During this distance learning, it is seems even more uh, oppressive since um, oftentimes we don't have the same amount of time with our students and the way that we can react. Well, so if time's a barrier, then how do you manage time? Well, unfortunately, the structural barriers in our educational system actually um, make time even harder for us because our curriculums are overpacked. Our textbooks are more like encyclopedias than uh, uh, easy to use manuals to use in teaching. And when we suggest great practices like formative assessment, people say, "Well, I that sounds good, but I don't have the time to do it." When we ask for better teaching and better problems and problem solving, teachers say, "That's great, but I don't have time to do it. I got to cover this or cover this before tests." So the idea is that we have these standardized tests that are these benchmarks that we're shooting for actually I believe, um, uh, uh, encourage teachers to not make the best instructional learning decisions, but in fact, make them feel guilty that they need to do this or that to be able to go through it. So we also have sort of this idea in our country that um, when you give a test, you have to learn how to take that test. It's not just good enough that you already know how to do it. To me, it always reminds me when I have to renew my license and they go in and make me take this written test. I I prove that I'm a competent driver, or I can prove that I'm not a competent driver every single day, even driving to the test. But in fact, they don't. That's not taken into account. Somehow, knowing the rules of the road and not whether you drive well is a substitute for the test. And we're no better in education. The tests are bad surrogates for whether or not you really have learned something or not. And unfortunately, uh, the testing system it doesn't encourage better instruction. I think it encourages teachers to rush. So there are a number of barriers that teachers have to negotiate and sort of fight through to be able to do formative assessment. But the good news for teachers is, and they should feel like this, as I did when I was a teacher, when I actually closed the door and I had my students in the class, I was responsible for making it the best learning place I could be. And if you sort of go with your gut and you follow your students' lead, as we say, move at the speed of learning, then you're going to do the best by your students.
Absolutely. David, thank you so much for meeting with us today and letting us pick your brain for and share your words and the work of SVMI with our area and region.